This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV Prime.
Every year, thousands of students from India come to study in America. Many of them, of course, with the desire to one day start their own company and turn entrepreneurs. So what's it like doing both those things, studying and having your own startup in America? We thought, who better to answer that for you? But a group of people from India, Indian origin, some of them, who will now tell us just what the experience has been like. But so let me start by asking you, you came from India a few years ago. You chose America. It's quite a pattern that you were absolutely clear in your head on what you wanted. Right. First question, why America?
To give you a very honest answer, it was a university system. I did my undergraduate in India around 2014, and I worked with a consulting firm for around 2 years. And within that time frame, I realized that there are a few skill sets that I want to acquire, which lie at the junction of business and technology. And after doing a search for almost a year for looking for programs in US, in Europe, India, Australia, I finally came up with a program. Finally found a program which was helping me build the skill set that I really wanted. Okay. And that university was in America. So that's how I landed here. Harshit,
if I could ask you, what is the one thing that you've enjoyed most, about your time here? And what is the one thing that perhaps has taken you aback?
Yeah, so the kind of entrepreneurship culture right in our college itself has taken me aback, because I never thought that this kind of environment any university would be able to provide, because I was in one of the best colleges in India, NIT Warangal, and it was a government college. I couldn't get that kind of culture, though it was topmost college. But over here, being in a University of Maryland, I realized that once we visit to that room, enter that room itself where people are sitting from entrepreneurship department, you get to learn so much. In what we couldn't know about our company in brainstorming for 1 year, we got to know in 5 minutes of talking to those people.
Akash, I have a quick question for you. You're also sort of one of those who very recently graduated. You're also looking at your own company. What so far has been the biggest challenge for you?
The biggest challenge, I would say, as everybody said, idea is obviously key, but execution, everybody would agree, execution is the majority of it. Ideas, we go to so many entrepreneurship conferences and meetings and all, so many people have ideas, right? Same ideas, but the teams and execution is the main thing. If execution is not done properly, then nothing will work.
So what is it about being in the US that you've learned this? Because there are others who could argue that this is the kind of knowledge that you could have got in India as well. So what has being here really taught you?
Here I would say that people value us a lot. In India, it's not that they value us, but here the valuation is very high. If you do masters in computer science, as I did, the value in India is not that high.
Parth, I'm sorry, I'm just going to get you in. Anirudh, you were sort of nodding in agreement to that. What about Desi land? What about India do you sort of miss the most? Because he's given us an opening here, and we must grab that this very moment.
Absolutely, and the one thing I think everybody will agree is a group of friends. Over here, you have friends, but it's very individualistic culture, and you have to be very professional. But in India, you have those, literally those. You can go and meet anyone anytime, and you have a group of friends you can hang out with anytime, any moment. And that is something which is very enriching, which is one thing which India has, but US does not have. It's a support system. US just provides the investment things and all those things, but India provides you the emotional and physical, mental support.
I want to ask all of you, Akash, why don't I ask you first? Recent developments or headlines from America have led to a fair amount of anxiety and unease among students in India. One is, of course, the immigration ban, which has seen parents especially say that, you know, we're not sure if we want to send our students. I mean, most students are rather clear. I think it's a generation thing. They know what they want to go, and they want to do it. But there are parents, I think, largely who are saying not sure whether we want them to go there. How do you believe this has played out?
I feel that the immigration is the H1B, obviously, we are talking about. And yes, laws have changed, and I would say that it has become difficult. We are facing the problem right now. Like, we are finding jobs right now, and we are seeing most of the companies now saying that, you know, okay, you need to be a US citizen, you need to have a green card, or this and that.
So?
Yeah. And we have seen that even requirements, I have read that, you know, 1 year of US citizenship. And I'm like, what is that? And they're like, yeah, you need to have a green card. So definitely everybody is scared.
And this was not the case earlier, you're saying?
Yeah, this was not. I feel the case was there, but it's increased.
I see.
It's increased a lot. People are really afraid. But at the same time, I feel that if you are sure of what you want, then talent will definitely come up. And when the talent comes up, then nothing will matter. Like, everybody will get a job if you are really talented. So like at that time, H1B won't matter. But yeah, I can see even my friends in India, they are scared. They ask me, oh, job mil raha hai ki nahi? And parents are telling me that, oh, don't worry, if you don't get a job, you can come back to India. Like, you know, tension mat lena and all those kind of stuff. But yeah, I see that that has put fear in the people of India.
Okay. Would you agree, Anu? Because, you know, the focus is increasingly being on becoming Buy American, Hire American. And, you know, it's the tech jobs that are impacted.
Absolutely. But you know what, there is a pro in this as well. Like, everything has pro and con, and there is a good point in that Indian talent will retain in India, and that will help a lot, because if entrepreneurs are coming over here and they are getting highly paid and they are staying over here and they're not going back because you're getting good payment promotions. But this way, like, Indian talent will be retained in India, and that's how you can like actually grow more onto the startups and communities. Because if the talent is there, people eventually want to do something apart from their regular jobs, and startups are something which is very popular nowadays among the youths and millennials. I think it would be really helpful for Indian society, like they can start working on their own things.
Okay, interesting. You're saying that here, sitting, you know, studying entrepreneurship or wanting to be an entrepreneur here, but you also said that you do want to go back. So
absolutely,
I guess that's...
Absolutely. Yep, I agree with that.
Okay, Parth, you wanted to make a point?
Yeah, despite the headlines that I've noticed, I've seen a handful of my relatives who moved here recently for education, because they actually aim to go back to India and use the American education, the value of American education. So the headlines have had an impact, but I don't feel like it's had tremendous impact. People are still moving here for education.
Okay. Sometimes I think the headlines do tend to get blown out. I think Rahul wants to make a point.
Yeah, I've also seen some of my cousins who've come here to do their education. They also want to go back to India and start their own businesses, and I think it gets harder for them when they come here to start their own businesses. Because you have to go through the whole process of the citizenship and the green card. So yeah, I believe it's hard, but some people can do it. But I think as for my cousins, they would like to, you know, go back to India and start their own. So yeah.
I think that's quite interesting. And I think my sense from all of this is that you believe that while things may have become a bit more challenging, but perhaps a bigger opportunity for those in India who are, the point that you made, you know, who want to be entrepreneurs or are studying entrepreneurship. Harshit, let me ask you, you know, we touched upon briefly on what you miss, and, you know, food and friendship and all of that. So how do you find your way around it? What is it like to all those watching and saying that, okay, you know, you have food might be an issue, and maybe that kind of friendship might be an issue as well, and, you know, obviously you're away from home and there is a certain sense of longing. So how do you find your way around it? Do you sort of try looking for friends outside the Indian community?
Yeah. A lot of my friends are there outside from Indian community. Other than that, like, we don't really get that much of time to spend with friends, you know. It's like 5 courses in 4 months of time. Like, you have to complete 13 credits almost. So like, and with a startup at hand. So I've been continuously working like 13, 14 hours daily. I barely get time to sleep and eat, so it's really tough to find friends. But it's still, since we are working on a startup and we keep on meeting new people, so at times on weekends and all, we spend time with those people, and yeah, we don't really get much of the time.
So when you guys get free time, you know, Prasoon, what do you do? I mean, is it cricket? Is it Bollywood? Is it more of the same? Is it something else? Tell us, what do you do?
We try to catch up on sleep. You won't believe.
No.
May 3rd week was the first time I went to sleep without an alarm clock in the past 6 months. It's that bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm sure one day you'll look back and sort of remember these years fondly. In fact, I'm sure you have no doubt either. But in your waking hours, when you are awake, how would you guys sort of like, what do you bond over? What is best chill out time with friends here, away from home, when you are awake?
It's mostly criticizing the school or whatever is going wrong, and it's whining time for us to blame everything else, everything in the world for all our problems. I'm just kidding.
This is conversation that feels like we are back home, because this conversation is most definitely possible. I always thought was only possible back home in India, but I'm happy.
No,
you
definitely.
You
It's like whenever we have time, we socialize, we whine. That's like a favorite pastime. But jokes apart, people here are really warm. They're welcoming, and one of the key differences I feel in US is strangers are more helping, and especially if you live in a university environment, you can just walk up, say hi to everyone, and chill with them. And that's what I tend to do with my free time. I try to go out, meet new people, try to meet people who are outside my curriculum or outside my school, so I get new perspectives on things going around us.
I think that's the one advantage that an international campus or an international university just offers you, this kind of melting pot, to use a cliche, that these institutions have become part. I want to ask you, Prasoon made the point about strangers being very helpful. At the same time, every now and then comes a headline of say, an issue around race or a racial attack, or recently an Indian student found dead. We still don't know the circumstances, could well be an accident or something else. And again, there is that sense of unease on, you're away from home and you don't know what's happening. How do you see, issues like this?
Those headlines are scary. I sometimes notice them. I take public transportation system. I've seen headlines where people get pushed on the rail tracks and they were killed. It is scary, but it's part of the culture. It's things like that happen. It happens everywhere. It's not just U.S. based. I've heard those headlines in other parts of the world, other parts where Indians are going, like Australia and Europe. So they are happening. Personally, I want to say it happens less in U.S., but that's just my personal opinion.
Okay. Yeah. At the same time, I feel the area matters a lot. Like, for example, we are in Washington, D.C. Maybe the people also matter a lot. The people we normally talk to, our friends in the area, they're like quite intellectual. So like when they also hear something like this, even they act like, oh, why is this happening? Like, this is so stupid, right? So our friends who are like, I have friends who are like obviously US, some are from Europe, some are from Nigeria, or anybody. Like, my roommate is a Nigerian. So even he'll say like, oh, this is stupid. This should not be happening. So maybe I feel area also plays an important role, because I have a weird habit of sleeping at 4 in the morning. So I go down to CVS around 2:33 in the morning and nothing happens. Like nobody. I've never faced any, at least I have never faced any racism.